In the darkness, she waits until she feels the tickle of wool against a knee to whisper a greeting. Amy, are you okay? The younger twin doesn't answer immediately, and the elder gives a sigh, raking a hand through tangled hair before sitting at the edge of her sister's bed. So, Mom says Kera's supposed to come home tonight. We're supposed to have dinner.
So, you're gonna tell her what you did?
Sage feels her cheeks flush, her pulse quicken. It shouldn't be noticeable in the darkness of the room she'd shared with her sister, a room that had existed purely for Amy's convalescence while their younger sister, adopted sister, had been out doing whatever she was doing. But Amy knows. Of course she does.
Sage, you have to tell her.
What, so she can, freak out again? No way.
She freaked out because she thought your weird friends were gonna hurt Toby or something. You know she wouldn't have done any of this otherwise.
Do I know? Because, I thought
That's not fair, Sage. She's our sister.
Kinda.
Fully. We played a dumb trick, we messed up, and people got hurt. Mom says she's freaked out about it.
Yeah, well, maybe she should be freaked out. She tried to kill Ren and Dex. She tried to kill you, Am.
That wasn't her. She was trying to protect Toby. She was trying to protect all of us.
Okay, well, obviously she didn't. Amy doesn't say anything to that. She just sits up slowly, putting a single hand out to touch her twin on the cheek, slowly turning both their gazes toward the torch.
Says who?
When Sage doesn't answer, Amy reaches over to hug the other girl.
Look, I get maybe this whole thing is weird. It's different. Everything is different. But it's Kera, Sage. For whatever else she did, you know she was just trying to help. And if you're not ready to tell her the truth, then fine. But I can't be here to watch you lie to her.
Oh my god, you're just gonna, leave? There's silence until Amy gives her sister a weary smile, sits with a wince, and leaves to make plans to be anywhere but home for the night.
This is Pot Against the Machine.
Pot Against the Machine.
Welcome back to Pot Against the Machine, the only podcast that'll kick your door down, help you build robot legs, and thank you for not making you kill them. I'm your host, and here's everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Are we the only podcast that would do that? I feel like Southern Tomfoolery might just once have done that.
Love you, STF.
Listen, if they try to do it, I don't even know.
You'll hear from Legal, the hardworking folks at Legal.
The hardworking folks at Legal and their chicken franchise. Live chicken.
Emporium. That is right. Yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Legal Zoo.
I just am now consider. How many places can you buy chicken pet or chicken food? And the pet and food in that case are both in little brackets. You're not buying chicken food.
Food for chicken.
To be clear, this chicken would be eaten.
Yeah, not chicken feed, chicken.
Yeah, chicken, food.
As food.
Poor chicken. Let's see. Last time on Pot Against the Machine, we went and spent some time with Connor Bain and found out some interesting bits of information about his past, namely his real name, Pauldrus Gray, and the fact that he used to work for the Technic League. That went over surprisingly well. No one got murdered other than a door. And we got some juicy information, I think, from him. And then went over and met Joram Kite, who asked y'all to look up his old possible flame, who happens to be hiding in Scrabble and has been there for quite a long time. He offered to pay you an absurd amount of treasure for doing this, as long as you deliver a binder full of love poems at the same time. And then you all went and bought a chicken, like you do.
That we did.
As you do.
As is the custom in these parts.
Yeah. And it's not at all suspicious that the person purporting this custom, aside from Kira, of course, who is objectively wrong most of the time, is someone who owns and sells chicken. That's what we call vertical integration. Business.
She hates math majors, but loves business majors.
I think Charlie the Lizard Folk just one day happened upon a ton of chickens. And was just like, what am I going to do with all these chickens?
Corner the market.
I'll start an emporium. I've lost
His
the
voice changed right then.
I've lost the voice all.
He was just emotionally ruined by the chicken finding.
Yeah, it was finding the chickens that gave him the new voice.
There's so many of them. One of the chickens kicked me in the throat.
I mean, that could have been his voice years ago when he first started the business. I'm hooked.
He's gonna have a spin-off podcast, actually.
I'm here for it.
Alright, well. Now, I believe you all have a dinner date. Using date in a weird form because you're all going to hang out with Kira's family and a live chicken.
I'm interested to see what they do with this chicken. That's no longer my responsibility. Those are NPCs.
I, too, am interested to see what they do with this chicken. You monsters. Alright, so I think we open our scene outside the Smith house. They're getting ready for dinner inside, presumably. The house smells like wonderful yogurt. As we all know, the Smith family is a very yogurt-heavy locale. I'm kidding.
At the perfect room temperature.
It's medium amounts of yogurt, just the generally acceptable amounts of yogurt. At room temperature, which is when you really get the pungency.
Oh my god.
You did this to yourself.
I'm just
Step in our
imagining
step.
like a house smelling like hot yogurt all the time.
Warm.
It is unlivable.
It's warm yogurt. Well, why did Kira leave?
Because it was the
For
yogurt.
real reason.
Oh man.
Asher's salivating at the smell of warm yogurt. We're going to be in for quite a treat. I wonder if they've heard of goo tubes.
Oh my god.
Perhaps we can swap favorite flavors. Why, I could
Don't
talk
even-
all night about the benefits for your health and the deliciousness.
I've forgotten my character's name. I don't know. There is only yogurt.
I think it's Yoplait.
I believe you're playing as Jamie Lee Curtis.
At least it serves a purpose, okay? Activia over yogurt. And I know we're dropping a lot of brand names now, but I don't know what kind of choices I have.
Sorry, did you say Jamie Lee Curtis?
No, but I frickin' should have.
Well, you could just jump right to your backup character, Giovanni Dannon.
That actually sounds like a Pathfinder name.
I'm gonna go.
I've spent this whole time trying to come up with one.
All right, let's end the that's good. Wrap it up. Perfect.
Nailed it. Okay, so assuming that we are standing outside the house and you've gotten all talk of yogurt out of our systems,
Never.
I think Kira was pretty excited, like post-buying chicken, and is probably talking again at Asher more than to Asher just the whole time they're walking there. And my sisters and my mom and my dad, and also this one time we were trying to grow tomatoes out in the garden. It really didn't work. We're not very good tomato growers, just on and on and on, and very excited to go home. But as they get closer, she starts going quiet and then sort of falling behind the group, and now they're standing outside the house, and like maybe one of them is waiting for her to go knock, or one of them has gone to knock instead. Just wait. What we should make sure that that warehouse where we found Garmin's thing is still safe. Just in case. There are no more vibrating boxes there because of how those make people sick.
Yeah, sure. I think it's on the way back towards the foundry after dinner. We could swing in there if you... We just gotta get up to the... He just keeps kind of looking back at Kira and taking a step forward all the way to the, the door over there. Are you all right?
I, just haven't been home in a while. I mean, a couple days, I guess, since the torch. I don't know if it's safe for me to go in there.
What do you mean?
I mean, traveling with you guys has been, super cool, because we can go under the mountain and fight stuff, and I'm good at that sometimes, mostly. Fighting bad things, strong things, but I don't know, right before we left, I got in a fight with my sisters, and it wasn't like fighting the rock thing or Mayanda, it was... But I thought it was. I thought in my head she was something else, and I just sort of stopped seeing her, and my mom said she's okay, but I still don't know what to say or do, and maybe I just shouldn't be in there at all, because they're not like rock monsters. That's just regular people. They're my family. I can't go back in there, and if something happens again, I won't have anywhere else to go.
With that last sentence, Brix just looks kind of struck and then
Vargas
stares down.
Walks up to her and he puts his hands on both of her shoulders and looks her in the eye and says, "They're your family. Even if you've had some sort of fight or falling out, or if you're worried about having another one, you should see them. We're going out to battle. You know that. You know we're not going to find Hellion supporters at Scrap Wall welcoming us with open arms. What do you think your family's going to say if they find out you died and you didn't even have dinner with them first?"
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask, but they'd probably make a joke and then yell at me a lot. Okay. You're right. Thank you, Vargas. Just... Okay, what if I exchange 2 stickers for a promise that none of you will let me hurt them? Or you. Mostly them.
And he says, "Deal."
For his part, Asher will just kind of add on, "You're not only the tallest person in this party, but I think you have the best heart of all of us. You wouldn't do something on purpose to harm another, especially one you cared for. We'll see that nobody does anything they'll regret this evening. And I agree with our companions. We should go have a nice time, and, I'm sure they'll be delighted with the chicken. Seems to be quite a lively specimen."
I don't think she says anything. I think she just gives Asher a hug.
Brix normally at this moment would be formulating some positive, supportive statement, but he is completely lost for words and is also now kind of uncomfortable about going into the house. But once he kind of sees Kira square up, he also does a little bit. "We got this." Yeah.
Yeah, we're super capable. I'm trying that out. Yeah, she'll go knock on the door.
A few seconds pass after she knocks on the door and doesn't kick it down. And then, you can see somebody, jostling the knob from the other side. Seems to be having a little bit of trouble with it.
Kick it in!
What?
No, that's mean. That's how people get hurt.
And then the door flies open, and a little boy with black hair screams, "Kera!" and basically hurls himself through the open doorway and jumps on top of Kira, or as high up as he can get, being a 3-year-old.
Just thigh level.
Yeah. So a flying hug.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll grab him up. Just hug him and probably do a quick little spin around. She's like, "Toby, I've missed you so much. How are you? Are you bigger? I think that you've grown 6 inches."
Probably. I mean, I'm the tallest one in my grade, probably already. Or maybe the second, I think.
I bet you're the tallest.
Probably.
I'm the tallest of my friends, too.
Yeah, I have a sticker that says I'm the tallest. I found it in your room.
Me too. Twins. Match. Toby, these are my friends. They are all shorter than me and probably also shorter than you, too. And she'll, turn and, I don't know, display the child.
Behold, a child.
And he'll wave super excitedly.
This is my brother, Toby.
And he's, a little 3-year-old boy. He's got, bumps and bruises all over himself because, he's a 3-year-old who runs constantly and very few teeth in his mouth, but, big smile on his face and very
Is that
enthusiastic.
because they haven't grown in yet, or does that do with the running?
Who's to say?
Yeah, you don't really need to hold on to your teeth as a 3-year-old. You get new ones.
So after a moment with him in the doorway, Willow, Kira's mom, comes into the room from the other room, and she smiles and says, "Hello, everyone. I see you've met Toby."
It's hard to see him from all the way down here. It's Brixby, pantomimes looking all the way up there.
Yes, we were just introduced. We are honored to be invited into your home, and as a small token of our gratitude and thanks for your hospitality, we have brought the customary chicken, as we were told by your daughter. Whether it becomes a fond member of your family or a delicious meal to sustain you all, of course the choice is yours, and I'm sure this specimen will be excellent, whatever it may turn out. Here, thank you. And he just tips his hat and presents the chicken.
She, cocks her head, steps forward, and she'll reach out and this is, from that lizard folks place, that opened up. Haven't had a chance to get down there yet. We usually hunt up our own. But thank you very much.
You said you wanted to try it, so we got a chicken for you, as is custom.
Sure, as is custom. Thank you very much. I'm afraid there's not enough time to prepare it for tonight, but thank you very much. Now, everyone, come in. And she's waving with the free hand while holding the chicken cage in the other hand and bringing you all in.
Asher will kind of tussle Toby's hair on his way in and kind of tilt his hat and say, "Well met, Toby."
And Toby goes wide-eyed and says, "When do I get to play with the gun?"
I keep asking him that, too. He is not good at sharing.
That has never been mentioned on air, and I resent the accusation. Well, I believe that's something best saved for a more experienced hand, but perhaps we can find a suitable replacement, one that's less lethal, as it were.
Yeah, I think that gets you a suspicious glare from the small child. And as you're all coming in and Kira's mom closes the door behind you, she'll just lean over to Kira and say, Amy is, she's over at her friend's house. She just needs a little bit more time. But everyone else is here, so we'll be quite the crowd.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. That's she hasn't seen her friends in a long time, so she should go over there. How is Sage?
Oh, Sage is doing well. She's excited to see you, of course. It's been quite a while. I don't think you all have ever been apart this long.
We were busy.
Sure. Saving the town is busy work. Hungry work, am I right?
Yeah, good thing we got this extra chicken, maybe.
Well,
Yes, well, we worked up an appetite, but were sustained by these fabulous things we found here. These tubes filled with a satisfying and nutritious goo and a variety of splendid flavors.
ah,
I must admit, though, as delightful as they are, and my go-to snack for an adventuring day, the appeal of solid food has not been lost. And it smells wonderful here, whatever you're preparing.
well, as you all probably know by now, thick, viscous liquids are Kira's favorites.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die
That one
here.
felt bad. Yeah.
That one made me uncomfortable.
I've never seen someone so obsessed with porridge. I don't falter for it. It has its merits.
All right. So there's definitely a borscht cooking in the other room. So she'll offer all of you a drink, and I think Toby will basically climb on Kira the entire time he's able to. But she'll offer to fetch everybody a drink and sort of get you settled in as they're finishing getting dinner ready. And Sage hasn't made an appearance, but Kira's father, who a couple of you, I believe, have met, even if he wasn't specifically named, steps out. He's a black-haired human man. He's
It's the one I bought my arm parts from, right?
yeah, you
Okay,
recognize him pretty quickly. He was working over at the guild hall, and he nods and smiles and says, "Hello, all of you. It's been a bit." Hello, Kira.
Hi, Dad.
It's
What do you mean it's been a bit?
I met a couple of your friends the other day at the guild hall.
For my sword? She'll like awkwardly pull out Ethel. Very little disregard for
Stuck in the ceiling.
Yeah,
Oop, oh,
totally.
sorry.
Just cuts a gash in the plaster work.
I'll fix that.
You're fine. You're fine. It's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Yeah, we killed a bunch of stuff with it.
So he smiles. So that's good. It's good to have you home.
What if I have to leave again really soon?
We've heard about that, and I'll respect your decisions. Obviously, you're old enough to take care of yourself. We'd rather you didn't leave so soon, but if that's where your work carries you.
Well, we're gonna try and come back because of how we have to get Jorm Kite hooked up with his girlfriend.
I don't know that I can imagine a Father Kite having a girlfriend.
I know. That's what I said.
Oh, well, now make yourselves at home, or resume being at home, for one of you at least, and dinner will be ready in just a few minutes. Sage is around here somewhere, so...
Begin cutting into pillows looking for her. Where is she? No, that's not true.
Reveal yourself.
Take 20. Someone cast invisibility purge.
She throws down a smoke bomb. She was there the whole time.
Ah,
Ninja levels.
boom.
Classic Sage.
Add that to my notes. Sister, comma, ninja.
Imagine they're all sitting on one of those like sectional couches with the plastic on it. Just. So I was in 5th grade in that picture. I forgot it was picture day, so my hair's not really done. It was show and tell like the night before, and I kind of just forgot. That's the time we went to Marine World. Sage got sick on one of the rides. It was bad. Someone else can say something if you want.
No, we're just gonna let you do this for the rest of the
Please
episode.
don't.
I'm just waiting for you to ask a question of your mom that sparks a conversation with your dad, and then you can just get those two NPCs going for a little bit, because that's my high hopes for this episode, is a lot of Sam talking to himself.
Okay, that's good to know. That's a goal.
Weirdly, it's a comedy of doors thing. They're never gonna be in the same room at the same time.
Dad just ran through here with a chicken.
They prepared the Benny Hill music. Okay, so I think after a brief...
Several seconds of awkward silence.
yeah, well, it's several minutes in real time. We just kind of did a time lapse there of the awkward time passing in Kira's childhood home and everyone just kind of hanging out, not knowing what to do with themselves. Caden will come out and say, well, everyone, dinner is served, and beckon you all into the dining room, where they've got the regular dining room table, and then they've clearly taken a table from outside and added it on, because this is more people than they're used to having, but they got spots put out for everyone, and there is the aforementioned borscht. The chicken doesn't make an appearance, I don't think, but there's other appropriate Khaled food, or Numerian food. And Sage is there.
Such as?
Oh, such as? Well,
yeah.
You know, there's like
Curious, what goes with borscht?
Well, there's a brown bread, of course. Fresh baked. And, you know, there's like stewed vegetables, and then there's some sort of meat thing. I don't know. I don't eat meat, so I've banished all that knowledge from my mind.
Sure.
But the chicken from today, it didn't make it onto the menu because
just a pile of chickpeas.
Some sort of vague, undefined meat.
Yes, they're
like a school cafeteria.
It's actually galarn tentacles, and
now that is a delicacy.
That's why it rocks.
Yeah, it's roast of thylacine, and they say don't tell the cops. This is endangered.
I thought you said you had a license for that.
Yeah, so when you actually come into the dining room, Sage is in there. She's a 16-year-old girl, human, like her parents, with blonde hair, and she's much smaller than Kira. She's smaller than her mother, too. She's sort of the low 5 feet, I'd say. But she's sort of twirling hair on her finger, and she's like, "Oh my god, Kira, it's been so long. Hello." You did this to yourself.
Okay. Excellent. Kira takes 2 steps into the room, and then Sage starts talking, and she sort of like stops, and like she's expecting something less tame than what she gets. And as soon as Sage sort of bypasses it, she's like, "Hi, Sage. I know I should have come back sooner. I just wasn't. How did that when you were in school and those guys? Good. Okay, yeah, just teen stuff." Kira's good at gossip.
She goes, "Oh my god, you're so funny. I could just die. I mean, no, not like die like you killed me or anything. That's not what I mean. Just a figure of speech is all I'm saying. It's fine."
Kira looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I do have some limited divine healing, should any of you become in physical peril, but I hope it doesn't come to that, despite Kira's humorous nature. Hello, I'm Asher.
Sage, this is Asher. He tells jokes accidentally.
Don't forget we also have that scroll of resurrection if it comes to it. Hello.
Okay, I'm not gonna kill my sister, so it's fine.
I'm Vargas, and I have to say you are the strangest looking family of orcs I've ever met, but to each their own.
Oh, well, most of them are human.
Oh my god. Hello everyone, I'm Brixby. That's a tough act to follow. But Sage, I would love to hear all about your interests and activities.
Oh, you don't have to. That's okay.
In great depth.
He's kidding. This is Brixby. He likes using words to say things that aren't the words that he means.
And details. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes, he's missing half a finger. We don't talk about it a lot, but he's rather an interesting fellow.
You didn't tell me your friends were so funny, Kera. They're like, just like out of this world. I don't even know. Literally, I can't even.
Can't even what?
I feel like I should be offended on behalf of all people who have previously been teenage girls.
Listen, I don't know. What are you saying right now? I don't even know what you're saying.
I was just joking.
I apologize if common's not your native tongue. I'm a little bit rusty with Hallet and might be able to drum up some other things, but
She's speaking common, like, mostly. She just is, kind of intense. We should have borscht.
We should borscht.
And might I say, this is the thickest borscht that I've seen since I left Chitterhome. The pure viscosity.
You
of
can
this
stand a
soup.
spoon up in that.
And boy, I am
Yes, it's an old family recipe.
right now. Yes.
I look forward to chewing that for many minutes before I'm able to.
The trick is to do equal parts starch and beet.
I was gonna say, it's just like a whole beet in there with a spoon stuck in it.
The old torch borscht.
It's just like a borscht mud.
It's just a wet beet.
A gelatin. I would prefer a wet beet to anything we've described so far.
Sitting on a spoon, or the spoon is impaled through the beet in the middle of the bowl and it's just standing up.
And now we eat. And then Kira's family does some sort of cultural dance around the table.
You're really gonna throw that into the world?
I mean, it's here. We're here now. We've
Trying to
decided
keep
this
up.
dinner is chaos.
Asher will roll an acrobatics check to try and dance with the family. It's a natural 19
Nice.
for a total of a 28.
Wow. Yeah, everybody just stands there watching Asher dance.
Full performance.
It was totally a fake
thought
out,
they
and
were-
he just rolled with it. But it was very, very good.
He blushes, not intending for it to be a solo act. Praise Caldera. What a dance.
You should totally do shows on the road, maybe in a circus or something. That was so good.
That's very kind of you, Sage. I've never considered the performer's lifestyle, but, well, life has an interesting way of bringing us onto new ideas.
I think the family will sit down to eat. I don't know. Do any of you have conversations you'd like to start at dinner, or is it just sort of?
I think Vargas, as he sits down, he starts to pick up his bowl with his hands, and as he does, he hears a voice in his head with a really badly done Venelese accent that says, "Just remember, if you don't want people to think of you as a barbarian, as you seem to get so angry about, maybe try using the utensils next time." And he, hearing that in his head, he sets the bowl down and picks up the spoon and starts digging into his disturbingly thick borscht.
His section of wet beet.
Yeah, I still would like to think that they pronounce borscht in a way that rhymes with torch, just because it's the delicacy of the. You got to try the torch borscht and stand a spoon up
I'm
in
so
it.
excited for these t-shirts.
And it's purple like the flame, and it's just everything
I know.
about it. It's very thematic.
He who removes the spoon from this board shall become king of Torch.
We are just wasting so much beautiful headcanon on this town. We're gonna leave in the
Speak for
dust.
yourself. Maybe Ash wants to stay now
It's book one forever.
and dance. Just dance for the people.
Just dance. They just given him an idea, and now he'll be opening a dance studio.
Adjacent to the new library.
So, for all the levity, Brix is still sort of uncomfortable in this family setting, and seems like it's a lot of effort for him to not direct his conversation either segmented to his teammates or polite questions about the house. but isn't necessarily pursuing the line of questioning of like family questions. Where's Kera from? Family getting along with one another. And he seems like extra aware of the tension in the room. Still. So, he loudly chews his borscht to make up for the lack of.
Kera is pretty comfortable, excited even with her parents and her brother and her friends, just asking questions between them or regaling her parents with stories of like all of the amazing things her friends have done since they've been under the hill. Still a little bit awkward with Sage, but at the first sort of like pronounced silence, I think she will let's just stab her wet beet section with a spoon. And then look at her mom. So, you know how you used to tell me stories about when you would go out and hang out with your friends and do adventure stuff, and sometimes you would use, like, magic?
And she nods and says, sure. What about it?
You didn't, like, teach any of that to me, right? That's not how it works.
No, the magic I've used is it's learned, but it's only very limited. But I never taught you any. I didn't think you were ever interested.
I wasn't, or at least not until. And I think she'll just instead of saying anything else, just like pull out a hand and do a smaller version of the shield. There's a purple sphere floating over her hand, and those again like the tattoos sort of light up along her face and arm. She's like, I don't know what this is, but Connor says it's maybe because of my other parents.
And Caden and Willow exchange a look, and Willow says that it's entirely possible. Obviously, we don't know much about them.
If I leave Torch to go, save Torch and also the world, could you give me a hint on where I could go to find them? My family? My other family? Not you guys, but,
Well, I used to tell you that I found you on my last adventure. And it's funny how these things work out. But there was a time, not long ago, or for you, it's your entire life ago, I used to be an adventurer, and I would go out. We had a whole group of us, and after Sage and Amy were born, when they were still very young, the old gang got back together, and we went out to Scrapwall, actually. And there's always groups of adventurers there searching for treasure or something buried amongst the rubble or entertainment at the Scrapmasters Arena. But things took a little bit of a turn after we went to the Scrapmasters Arena, and we fought, and we made some money. It was all good fun, but there was a group there. I don't know much about who they were, but amongst them there was an orc, a woman with copper skin like yours and tattoos like yours, and she was chained, and she was part of this group. So they were there to fight, I think, but she entrusted you to my care. This is. She looks around, kind of, bright red. She goes, "This is not a great way to tell you this, but I don't know anything about her. But she was there, and she needed help. I tried to do what I could, and I think we've done the right thing." She goes kind of quiet, and she's like staring down at her plate, like still like bright red.
Kira's also very quiet.
As someone who has traveled, actually been honored to travel in the company of your daughter, Kera, I can tell you that you absolutely have done something right here. We wouldn't be basking, and gestures towards whatever window, just towards the mountain, in the faint purple glow of this if we've never met Kira Smith. And with that, he'll raise a thick glass of borscht. And I wouldn't be the same if I hadn't met all of you. But this isn't about me. Thank you again, and to Kera. And he raises his slop.
Yes, to Kera.
Kira.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, but I don't think I would be here without any of you either. You know, literally and otherwise. So maybe just two very capable four. And also my parents. I will also lift a borscht chunk. I have other questions. But maybe if you go to Scrapwall, I can find answers on my own. Thank you for telling me, I think, Mom.
And yes, she's like still silent for quite some time, and she sort of raised a cup to the toast, but didn't like really recover much. But she says Scrapwall is it's a lawless place. It's not a place for children, but it's not everyone. There are plenty of terrible people there that will as soon rob you as look at you. But there are regular people there, just who just live their lives and work and they're adventurers, and there are just people there for entertainment, and others who are more eccentric than anything else. The point is it could be anyone who that your mother was, and I hope that you can find answers if that's what you want. But when I was there, there's no ruler of Scrapwall per se, but there are gangs, and the leader of the most powerful gang was a man named Viraggio. He was the bear of a man, a huge man who's one of the most powerful fighters I've ever seen. But he wasn't a friend by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a fair and reasonable person, and he would keep people in line. Perhaps you should seek him out. He could help you find what's going on with these Lords of Rust, whoever they are. And she kind of runs out of momentum.
What was the gang that he led?
The Steelhawks.
Thank you. Invaluable to have just even a name, a person that we could speak to up there. I don't want to make this more about our business than talking with your daughter, but can you tell us a bit more about your experience with Scrapmaster's Arena?
It's essentially a huge fighting pit, built with stands around it for spectators, and a platform for someone to watch over, or a commentator, and then people go in and they fight for. Usually it's a non-lethal sort of for entertainment, betting purposes, or to solve petty conflicts, but not always. There are fights to the death there. There have been, but not usually.
Yeah, that was the general perception that we had received. I am a bit worried about my martial prowess, but again, I'm in the capable, large, intimidating, scary, crushing hands of your daughter, so feel a bit better here.
That's where you found my mom and me?
Yeah, she was brought there. There was some group, I don't know who they were, but she was amongst them, and I don't know if she had kept you secret or what, but while we were at the arena, she managed to pass you off to me, and we weren't able to speak much. I'm afraid I know very little about her.
That's okay. This is way more than you knew before. And now we have someone to look for. I mean, aside, from the bad guy and I guess like a god.
Did you happen to encounter a half-elven woman? And via, she looks like description. With apparently earlobes of some amount of attraction. And we've been sent to look for her, and if you know anything about her whereabouts or well-being, seems that you visited Scrapwall more recently than anyone has had contact with her.
I don't think I ever ran into half-elf Invia, you said? That doesn't sound familiar.
It's possible she is going by an alias. I have heard that sometimes people do that, and that's all I'll say on the matter.
It's kind of like when you told the Skulks that you're Sandville Tret.
Yes, that was a rather ingenious device on my part. I understand the utility of such a thing.
So, how did you two meet? I'd love to hear you both tell the story.
To each other, please.
I have nothing prepared for that.
That's a Patreon
The magic
tier.
happens when you don't.
Really?
Well, it
You're
was
both
at
in line at
it was at a
Charlie's.
chicken emporium. we were
Wait, I thought you hadn't gone.
No,
was one of the other-
we
one
were
of the
both
other ones
in
that
line
was
for
running.
chicken. And we were both like, "There's no convenient place around here to get a live chicken," and your mother wanted a dead chicken, so there's no convenient place for that either. We were like, "What are we to do?" And the rest is history.
Truly, all the bards of Absalom have never heard a more wondrous story of love and chicken.
And Sage just sitting in the corner, just like fake gagging.
Oh my god, what are we even talking about right now? This is nonsense.
No, Brixby had asked about how your parents had met. That's what we're talking about at the moment.
Oh yeah, like 1,000,000 years ago. Who even cares?
Apparently, at least Brixby does, and I was interested in the tale as well.
It is being rhetorical.
That means she doesn't want you to answer the question.
What's the point of asking a question if you don't want it answered?
I think she's doing this thing of where she just wants everyone else to know that she's not interested. She does that sometimes.
Oh, let's talk about things you're interested in, Sage. What about boys at school? Tell me about them.
She just rolls her eyes. You wouldn't know them. I mean, my boyfriend is from Hajathokados, so, but we write letters all the time, every day.
They have a lot of letters.
Man, you hit me with they go to another school. I wasn't expecting that one, but I deserved it.
I was trying to come up with Galarian Canada, but there was not enough time.
I was waiting for you to say Chitterhome and just completely ruin it, since that's where Brix is from.
Oh, it's his little brother.
Oh, and so what do you think you'll name the chicken? Last question for everybody at the table was voiced by an NPC.
Yeah, Toby has to answer too.
Let's name it Lightning Face. He looks super excited.
I was thinking Chanticleer.
He just stares at you, his mouth partially open. And the chicken goes,
Brix gives a single nod of affirmation. Yeah.
All right, named. It's a pet chicken. Chicken, pet.
I've got all the information I was looking for out of your family at this point.
Stands up. No. Yeah. What a nice, pleasant meal. Your family is so sweet and accommodating. And what a good dance we had.
What a good dance. Asher brought both a chicken and a cultural dance. No one else knew about it. So, congratulations, Asher. The party guest of all time.
So I think as dinner kind of winds to a close, and as they're clearing away the plates and stuff, Caden will step over to Kera and just sort of say quietly, I have something for you.
Is it a present?
Well, I don't know that I'd call it that, but your friend's parents stopped by. There was something that Parda wanted you to have.
And yeah, Kira's whole expression changes somewhere between Oh yeah, my friend is dead, and what could she want me to have? Vicky, she left me something?
He nods and he reaches into his coat and he pulls out a dagger, and it sort of looks like a normal dagger, but the metal is like a darker, sort of dull gray. And he hands it over. It's heavier than it looks like it should be. He says, this was hers. Totally impractical, but a sky metal dagger. Now it's yours.
I remember it. She showed it to me one of the first times we went out hunting together, and I said the same things. Why do you need a sky metal dagger? And she said, it looks cool. Are you sure I'm supposed to have it? Her parents didn't want to keep it?
They were quite clear. It's for you.
Oh, okay. This is good. Thanks, Dad.
And he nods and hands over the dagger and gives her like a pat on the back and one of those sort of awkward like smile nod kind of. I did it on camera. Yeah.
The dad thing. Yep, I'm familiar. Cool. Yeah, she'll take the dagger and just kind of stare at it for a little bit. And sort of think to herself and have a moment where, if we could hear inside of her head, she'd be like, all right, I need to do something before I leave. Let's turn around. I think she'd say that to the remainder of the very capable four. I don't know when we're leaving, but I should do something before we go. It doesn't have to be tonight.
Sure. I believe we're all free to do whatever sort of business we'd like to attend to. We have some urgency in heading to Scrapwall, but at the same time, there's no reason why we couldn't spend however much time we need here to finish any business or pleasure.
Yeah, you certainly have time to get your affairs in order. We haven't even logistically figured out how we are transporting ourselves.
How long do you think that'll take? Because I can update the chore wheel since I'll be out of town for a while. Sage, can you wash the dishes indefinitely?
And the sigh goes on longer than I'm capable of physically sustaining it. And her eyes roll back like so far that it looks like it would hurt.
She's just collapsed.
Oh no, natural 5 on the heal check. Asher is concerned and...
Yikes.
Is she alright? Did she not chew the borscht sufficiently?
At first you think the eye roll is her just being dramatic, but it's actually she sighed so hard she blew all the air out of her lungs and just passed out.
She's unconscious.
Kera was right the whole time. She was going to hurt her family.
I told you this would happen.
Just like the old Kellet woman said.
I have no further conversation to have, I think.
Well, thank you for a lovely evening. It's been so very illuminating to meet you all.
I apologize for any of the awkwardness. It took me a little bit by surprise, but I thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed your meal.
I didn't notice any awkwardness at all. It was a very pleasant time.
And thank you for the chicken lightning face. In the background, Toby and the chicken are just running around in circles. He's trying to catch it. Kera, will you be staying for the night?
Kira starts to nod and then looks back at everyone else and she's like, okay, everyone's giving me thumbs up, so yes. I think that's what that means. Yes.
Apologize for the ambiguity, but yes, by all means spend this time with your family. Sounds like Sage may appreciate you getting any chores in this evening before you depart. Not that we have to depart tomorrow, but make the most of the time.
You can put Lightning Face on the wheel where your name was. That's the word.
Yeah, thanks, Bricks.
Vargas will turn to the parents and say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, thank you for the lovely meal. We will do our best to make sure your daughter doesn't die when we go to Scrapwall, but just things happen sometimes, so don't keep your hopes too high.
Caden suppresses a little bit of a laugh and claps Vargas on the shoulders. Appreciate that.
She's come close to death on many occasions, but we have kept her from Pharasma's embrace. I'm confident we can do the same.
Dragged her kicking and screaming back from the boneyard.
Mylan Radley's face pops up in the window, and he goes, "It's only a matter of time! It's coming for you!" And he runs off into
Close
the
that
night.
window. Okay, well, I know where Kira's sleeping. I don't know about the rest of y'all. Best of luck.
Alright, so are we drawing this pleasant family evening to a close?
Yeah, I believe that Brigsby's going to go back and, for the first time in this pod, pay to stay at the Foundry. Because I guess I have to, because I'm stealing spells out of the man's book, who I stole all of his scrolls last time.
Wow.
Too, so I just feel
character
should give a
growth.
little bit back. This is character development.
That's character
This is why
development.
you listen to the podcast.
That's
Book
huge
2, man.
right there. He's turned over a new leaf.
So I'm heading back to the Foundry. I know that's where Asher is going as well, I believe, because you checked out.
Yeah, he'd checked out of the Evercandle previously and was happy to stay at the Foundry. Initially, it was to be kind of close to the wizard formerly known as Connor. I guess he's currently known as Connor. The wizard formerly known as Pauldress, which is a very good cover name if I've ever heard. And now he's just gonna stay there out of we've taken a lot of from the family, lots of snacks, etc., and giving
Post-it notes.
back where we can is a generous thing to do.
Yeah, I suppose. I could throw a couple of these flavors of goo tubes we're not going to get into to replenish the stores, as it were. Do you like strawberry and anxiety chip?
No, it's all right, but personally I prefer the Loganberry and I got nothing. Hold on.
The name of the flavor.
Yes, that's it. The Loganberry and forgetfulness.
Oh my god.
Right, yeah, no, I was confused at first if you were referencing the flavor that is the absence of flavor, which is the limited run that they seem to have been doing in 46. Oh boy, these are old. Anyway, let's head on to the old Foundry.
Cherry and existential dread.
Yes, that is a favorite. Perhaps while we're on the road at some point, if not before, I'd be interested in going over your notes, Brixby, on Androphen. I don't know whether we'll encounter it at all in the future, but languages have always intrigued me.
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, these are notes that I found a long time ago and are now only beginning to make sense to me. I'd be happy to share this information with you.
So I think when we get back to the Foundry, I'm still making good on my plan to breaking into Connor's room and working on his legs with, I don't know, probably my dexterous feet as I scribe into my book from his book.
And you steal spells like a monster who's already taken so much from this man.
He gave us permission.
I did ask.
I think Vargas will actually go there too, and he'll wait for Brixby to finish up, and then he'll attempt to copy a spell into his too.
This book feel free to look through.
I mean, yeah. I have a bunch of spells in there. I'm sure some of them are on the Magus spell list. I can give you a list in between sessions or something.
Yeah. And we can always say we do that whenever we're going to be on the road for a friggin' month and a half going to walking to Scrapwall.
Oh, man.
So Kera is at her family home, and Vargas and Brixby are going over Connor's spellbook / sleep mechanical feat device making. Asher would be sort of alone, and he hasn't had a lot of alone time over these past few days, just traveling like you do on an adventure underneath a mountain in a spaceship. He would take that time and he'd just sort of sit on his bed in the foundry, and he would pray. He would pray for the kids that Val was with before she was saved by Connor, and he would just ask that Caldera, wherever they are, would protect them. And he would make a promise at that moment, if nothing else to himself, to, well, I didn't know the depths of evil to which the Technic League had partaken, but if it is within my power in this life, I will put an end to those experiments. No more children shall be taken. No more families shall be broken. I swear it. And he would just close his eyes, take a deep breath, and go back to his getting ready for bed routine.
I think as this adventuring day is coming to a close, and maybe the last full day in Torch for quite some time, much like your characters, I'm going to bed.
Night, Sam.
It's bittersweet, Sam.
Aw, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, Torch.
Night, Sam. No.
Good night, Moon.
I was going to get my entire Good Night Moon book. I have that little blue bunny from when I was a whole child. Good night, Sam.
Pod against the machine. Against the machine.
Pod Against the Machine is property of its creators, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are properties of Paizo Publishing. Please visit them at paizo.com for more information. Theme Against the Machine written and performed by our own Zach. Please consult the show notes for additional music and sound effect licensing information.
This is Pod Against the Machine.
Yay, it's so good! Oh my
Let's
God,
listen to
yay!
it.
I love it. You're gonna be on the show. You're famous now. This was that whole last time of us being very loud. This was amazing. And you send this to Zach to